so the following evening I brought Jim home to dinner. I had known Jim slightly in high school. In high school, Jim was a hero. He had the tremendous Irish good nature and vitality with the scrubbed and polished look of white chinaware. He seemed to move in a continual spotlight. He was a star in basketball, captain of the debating team, president of the senior class in the glee club, and he sat in the male lead in the annual light outfits. He was always running or bounding, never just walking. He seemed always at the point of defeating the law of gravity. He was shooting with such velocity through his adolescence that you would logically expect him to arrive at nothing short of the White House by the time he was 30. But Jim apparently ran into more interference after his graduation was over. His speed had definitely slowed. 6 years after he graduated high school, he was holding a job that wasn't much better than mine. He was the only one at the warehouse with whom I was on friendly terms. I was valuable to him as someone who could remember his former glory, who had seen him win basketball games and the Silver Cup in debating. He knew of my secret practice of retiring to a cabinet of the washroom to work on poems when business was slack in the warehouse. He called me Shakespeare. And while all the other boys in the warehouse regarded me with suspicious hostility, Jim took a humorous attitude towards me. Gradually, his attitude affected the others. Their hostility wore off, and they began to smile at me as people smile on an oddly fashioned dog who trots across their path at some distance. I knew that Jim and Laura had known each other in high school, and I heard Laura speak admiringly of his voice. I didn't know if Jim remembered her or not. In high school, Jim and Laura had been as unobtrusive as Jim had been astonishing. If he did remember Laura, it wasn't as my sister. But when I asked him to dinner, he said, "You know, Shakespeare, I never thought of you as having folks." He was about to discover that I did.
Why are you trembling?
Nothing made me so nervous.
How have I made you nervous?
I hope it's possible. You make it seem so important.
I don't understand you, Laura. You can't be satisfied with just forget your mother. This is the dress in which I led the cotillion. One became twice at Sunset Hill. Wore one Sunday to the governor's ball in Jackson. See how I sashayed round the ballroom, Laura? I wore it on Sundays for my German clothes. I had it on the day I met your father. I had malaria fever, all that spring. The change of climate from East Tennessee to the Mississippi Delta weakened resistance. I had little temperature all the time. Not enough to be serious, just enough to make me restless in you. Imitations, poetry, parties, all over the day. Stay in bed, said Mother. You have a fever. But I just wouldn't. I took quinine, but kept going. Evenings, dances, afternoons, long rides, picnics. Lovely, so lovely that country in May. All lacy with dogwood, literally flooded with jonquils. That's the spring I had the craze for jonquils. Jonquils became an absolute obsession. Mother said, honey, there's no more room for jonquils. But I kept on bringing in more jonquils. Whenever I saw them, I'd say, stop, I see jonquils. I made the young men help me gather the jonquils. It was a joke, you know. Amanda and her jonquils. Finally, there weren't vases enough to hold all of them. Every available space was filled with jonquils. No more vases to hold them? All right then, I'll hold them myself, and then I met your father. Malaria fever and jonquils. And then this boy. I certainly hope your brother gets here before it starts to rain. I gave him and Mr. O'Connor a little bit of extra change so they could take the service car home.
Oh, what did you say his name was?
O'Connor?
No, what's his first name?
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do. It was Jim.
Not Jim.
Yes, that was it. It was Jim. Oh, I've never known a Jim that wasn't nice.
Why, are you sure his name was Jim O'Connor?
Yes, why?
Was he the one that Tommy used to know in high school?
Well, he didn't say so. I think he just got to know him down at the warehouse.
There was a Jim O'Connor that Tom and I both used to know in high school. If this is the one that Tom's bringing to dinner, I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I won't come to the table.
You'll certainly do nothing of the kind. I don't intend to humor your silliness, Laura. I told you, I don't intend to humor your silliness. Now just sit on the sofa and compose yourself until they arrive. But Tom has forgotten his key, so you'll have to let them in when they get here.
Oh, Mother, you answer the door.
I'll be in the kitchen, busy. I have to go fix the dressing for the salmon. Oh, fuss, scissors. Oh, the gentleman caller. Laura, sweetheart, the door.
Just great.
Laura, that is your brother and Mr. O'Connor. Will you let them in, darling?
Mother, you answer the door.
sister.
How do you do?
Okay. Your hand's cold, Laura.
Yes, after playing the trouble.
Must have been playing classical music on it. You gotta play a little hot swing music to warm you up.
Excuse me, I haven't finished playing the trouble.
What was the matter?
Oh, with Laura? Laura is terribly shy.
Shy, huh? It's unusual to meet a shy girl nowadays. I don't believe you ever mentioned you had a sister.
Well, now you know. I have one. Here's the Post-Dispatch. You want a piece of it?
Yeah.
What piece? Comics?
Sports. Old Dizzy Dean is on his bad behavior.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going out on the terrace.
You know Shakespeare. I'm gonna sell you a bill of goods.
What goods?
Of course I'm saying.
Huh?
Public speaking. You and me, we're not the warehouse type.
Thanks. That's good news. What does public speaking got to do with it?
Fits you for executive positions.
Oh,
I tell you, it's not a hell of a lot for me.
you want respect.
In every? Ask yourself, what's the difference between you and me and the guys in the office down front? Huh? Brains? Ability? Nah. Just one little thing.
What is that one little thing?
Primarily amounts to social poise. Being able to square up to people and hold your own on any social level.
Tom,
Yes, Mother?
is that you and Mr. O'Connor?
Yes, Mother?
Well, you just make yourself comfortable in there.
Yes, Mother.
Ask Mr. O'Connor if he would like to wash his hands.
No, I took care of that down at the warehouse. Thank you.
Yes?
Who knows what's speaking to me about you?
Favorably?
What do you think?
Well,
You're gonna be out of a job if you don't wake up.
I am waking up.
You show no signs.
The signs are interior. I'm planning to change. I'm right at the point of committing myself to a future that doesn't include the warehouse, or Miss Mendoza, or even a night course in public speaking.
What are you gassing about?
I'm tired of the movies.
Move.
Yes, movies. Look at them. All of those glamorous people having adventures, hogging it all, gobbling the whole thing up. You know what happens? People go to the movies instead of movies. Hollywood characters are supposed to have all the adventure for everybody in America, while everybody in America sits in a dark room and watches them have them. Yes, until there's a war. That's when adventure becomes available to the masses. Everybody's dish, not only Gable's. That's when the people in the dark rooms come out of the dark rooms to have some adventures themselves. It's our turn now to go to the South Sea Island, to make a safari, to be exotic, far off. But I'm not patient. I don't want to wait till then. I'm tired of the movies, and I'm about to move.
Move.
Yes,
When?
soon.
Where? Where will you go?
I'm starting to boil inside. I know I seem dreamy, but inside, well, I'm boiling. Whenever I pick up a shoe, I shudder a little, thinking how short life is, and what I'm doing. Whatever that means. I know it doesn't mean shoes, except it's something to wear on a traveler's feet. Look,
What?
I'm a member.
Union of Merchant Seamen.
I paid my dues this month instead of the light bill.
You'll regret it when they turn the lights off.
I won't be here.
How about your mother?
I'm like my father. A bastard son of a bastard. Did you see how he's grinning in this picture in there? And he's been absent going on 16 years.
You're just talking, Trip. How does your mother feel about it?
Shh. Here comes Mother. Mother is not playing with my plans.
Where are you all?
Out on the terrace, Mother. Mother,
Yes?
how about supper?
Oh, honey, you go ask Sister if supper's ready. You know Sister's in full charge of supper. Tell her you hungry boys are waiting for her. Have you met Laura?
Yeah, she,
There you is. Oh, good. You met her already. You know, it's rare for a girl as sweet and pretty as Laura to be domestic. But Laura is, thank heavens, not only pretty, but very domestic. I'm not at all. I never was a bit. I never could make a thing but angel food cake. Well, see, in the South, we had so many servants.
Where shall I set the candles?
Oh, and
How about you're on the floor? Any objections?
no.
I'll spread a newspaper under and catch the drift. I like to sit on the floor. Mind if I do?
No.
Give me a pillow.
What?
A pillow?
Oh,
How about you? Don't you like to sit on the floor?
yes. I will.
Take a pillow. Well, I can't hardly see you sitting way over there.
I can see you.
That's not fair. I'm in the limelight. Good. Now I can see you. Comfortable?
Yes, thank you.
So am I. Comfortable as a cat. Will you have some gum?
Well, no, thank you.
Well, I think that I will indulge with your permission. Look at the fortune made by the guy that invented the first piece of machinery. Amazing, huh? The Wrigley Building is one of the sights of Chicago. I saw it when I went up to the Century of Progress. Did you check in the Century of Progress?
No, I didn't.
Well, it was quite a wonderful exposition. What impressed me the most was the Hall of Science. It gives you an idea of what the future will be like in America. Even more wonderful than the present time is. Your brother tells me you're shy. Is that right, Laura?
I don't know.
I judge you to be an old-fashioned type of girl. Well, I think that's a pretty good type to be. Hope you don't think I'm being too personal, do you?
I believe I will have a piece of gum if you don't mind. Mr. O'Connor, have you kept up with your singing?
Sing? Me?
Yes, I remember what a beautiful voice you had.
Where did you hear me sing?
Very often. I don't suppose you remember me at all?
You know, I had an idea I've seen it before. I had that idea as soon as you opened the door. It seemed almost like I was about to remember your name. The name that I started to call you wasn't a name, so I stopped myself before I said it.
Was it Blue Roses?
Blue roses! My gosh, yes, blue roses, that was it. That's what I had in my tongue when you opened the door. Isn't it funny what tricks your memory plays? I didn't connect with high school somehow or other, but that's where it was. It was high school. I didn't know you were Shakespeare's sister. Gosh, I'm sorry.
I didn't expect you to. You barely knew me.
Well, we did have a speaking acquaintance, huh?
Yes, we spoke to each other.
When did you recognize me?
Oh, right away.
As soon as I came in the door?
When I heard your name, I thought it was probably you. I know that Tom used to know you a little in high school, and then when you walked through the door, I was sure.
For goodness sakes, no, sure is funny.
Isn't it, though?
Didn't we have a class together or something?
Yes, we did.
What class was that?
Singing? Chorus.
Oh,
We sat across the aisle from each other in the auditorium.
now I remember. You always came in late.
Yes. It was hard for me getting up those stairs. I had that brace on my leg, and it bumped so loud.
I never heard any clumping.
To me, it sounded like thunder.
Well, I never even noticed.
And everybody was already seated by the time I came in. And I had to walk in front of everybody. And my seat was in the back row, and I had to go pumping up the stairs. But everybody watched.
You shouldn't have been so self-conscious.
I know, but I wasn't. It was always such a relief when the singing started.
Yes, I think I placed you now. I used to call you Blue Roses. It's okay. Yeah. Why did did I get started calling you that?
Outside of school for a little with sclerosis. And when I came back, you asked me what was the matter, and I said sclerosis, but you thought I said blue roses. So well, that's what you'd always call me.
I hope you didn't mind.
Oh no, I liked it. You see, I wasn't really acquainted with many people.
Because I remember you sort of stuck by yourself.
I never really had much luck at making friends.
I'll see why you would.
I started off that.
I mean, being...
It sort of stood between me and...
You shouldn't have let it.
I know, but I tried not to, but I could never...
Overcome?
No. I could never...
I guess being shy is something you have to get over kind of gradually.
Yes, I guess it...
Takes time.
Yeah.
People are not so dreadful when you get to know them. That's what you have to remember. And everybody's got problems, not just you, but practically everybody's got some problems. You think of yourself as having the only problems, as being the only one that's disappointed. But just look around you a little. You see lots of people as disappointed as you are. For instance, when I was going to high school, I hoped that I'd be further along this time, 6 years later than I am now. Remember that wonderful write-up I had in the torch?
Oh, yes.
I said I was bound to succeed in anything I wanted to. Holy cheese, the torch!
Here you are in the Paris Plaisance.
I sang the baritone lead in that opera.
Oh, so beautifully. Yes, beautifully.
You heard it?
All 3 times.
No.
Yes.
All 3 performances?
Yes.
Why?
Oh, well, I wanted to ask you to autograph my program.
Why didn't you ask me to?
Well, you were always so much surrounded by your own friends.
You should
I
have just...
never really had the chance.
Well, yeah, you should have just...
No. I thought you might think I was old.
Thought you might think you was...
Well,
I was beleaguered by females in those days.
you were terribly popular.
Yeah.
Oh, you had such a friendly way.
I was spoiled in high school.
Everybody liked you.
Including you?
Yes, I did too.
Well, well, well. Give me that program. Better late than never.
Oh, what a surprise.
Here you are. My signature isn't worth very much right now. Someday, maybe it will increase in value. Being disappointed is one thing. Being discouraged is something else. I'm disappointed, but I'm not discouraged. 23 years old. How old are you?
I'll be 24 in June.
That's not old age.
No, but
Have you finished high school?
I never went back.
You mean you dropped out?
I made bad grades in my final examinations. So, how was Emily Meisenbach getting along?
Oh, that crockhead.
Well, why do you call her that?
That's what she was.
Well, you're not still going with her.
I'll never see her.
It said in the personal selection that you two were engaged.
I know, but I was impressed by that propaganda.
So it wasn't the truth.
What have you done since high school? I said, what have you done since high school, Laura?
Nothing, really.
You must have been doing something these 6 long years.
Yes.
Well then, such as what?
I took a business course at business college.
How did that work out?
Well, not very well. I had to drop out. It gave me indigestion.
What are you doing now?
Well, nothing really. Oh, but please don't think I just sit here doing nothing. I have my glass collection. You see, glass I take good care of. A good deal of time.
What did you say about glass?
Oh, my collection, I said. I have one.
You know what I judge to be your trouble? You inferiority complex. You know what that is? That's what they call it when someone low rates himself. I know because I did too, although my case was not so aggravating as yours seems to be. I had it until I took up public speaking, developed my voice, and learned that I had an aptitude for science. Before that time, I never thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever. Now, I've never made a regular study of it, but I have a friend who says that I can analyze people better than doctors in their profession. I don't claim that to be necessarily true, but I'm sure guess a person's psychology. Excuse me. I always take it out when the play was going. I'll use a scrap piece of paper to wrap it in. You know how it is to get it stuck in your shoe. Yep, that's what I judge to be your principal trouble. A lack of confidence in yourself as a person. You don't have the proper amount of faith in yourself. I'm basing that fact on a number of your remarks and certain observations I've made. For instance, that clumping that you thought was so dreadful in high school, you say you even dreaded to walk to class. Now you see what you did? You dropped out of school. You gave up your education because of a clump, which as far as I know is practically non-existent. A little physical defect is what you have. Hardly noticeable. You know what my strong advice to you is? Think of yourself as superior in some way.
In what way would I think of myself?
My man alive, Laura. Just look around you a little. You know, what do you see? A world full of common people. All of them born and all of them going to die. Which of them has 1/10 your good points? Or mine? Or anyone else's as far as that goes? Everybody exceeds themselves in some one thing. Some in many. All you gotta do is discover what. Take me, for instance. My interest happens to lie in electrodynamics. I'm taking a radio engineering course in night school, Laura, on top of a fairly responsible job at the warehouse. I'm taking that course, and I'm studying public speaking.
Oh.
Because I believe in the future of television. And we should be ready to go right along with it. Therefore, I'm planning to get on the ground floor. In fact, I've already made all the right connections. And all there remains now is for the industry itself to get underway. Knowledge, zip, money, zip, power. That's the cycle democracy is built on. I guess you think I think a lot of myself.
Oh, no.
Now, how about you? Isn't there something you take more interest in than anything else?
Yes, as I said, I have my glass collection.
I'm not really sure I know what you're talking about. What kind of glasses?
Oh, little articles and ornaments, mostly. Most of them are tiny little animals made out of glass. The tiniest little animals you'll ever see. Mother calls them a glass menagerie. Here's an example of one if you'd like to see. This one's the oldest. He's nearly 13. Oh, but be careful. If you breathe, it breaks.
I better not. I'm pretty clumsy with these things.
Oh, no, go on. I trust you with him. You're holding him gently. Now hold him over the light. He loves the light. Just see how the light just shines through him?
Sure does shine.
I shouldn't be partial, but he's my favorite.
What kind of thing is this one supposed to be?
Oh, haven't you noticed the single horn on its forehead?
Unicorn, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Unicorns. Aren't they extinct? Must feel sort of lonesome.
Oh, well, if he does, he doesn't complain about it. He sits on the shelf with the horses that don't have horns, and well, they all seem to get along rather nicely.
How do you know?
Oh, well, I haven't heard any arguments among them so far.
No arguments, huh? That's a pretty good sign. Where shall I set them?
I'll put them on the table. They all like a change of scenery once in a while.
I think it stopped raining. Now, where does that music come from?
Paradise Dance Hall. It's across the alley.
Well, how about cutting the rug a little, Mrs. Northfield?
Oh,
Or is your schedule filled up? Now, let me take a look at that. Why, every dance is taken. I guess I'll just have to scratch them out. tighten up. That's the main thing about it. Just relax.
Okay, sorry, not Tim. I'm afraid you can't budge me.
What do you bet I can?
Oh my goodness, I guess you can.
Not so stiff. Easy does it.
Oh, I'm trying. Oh my goodness.
Smooth back, though.
But I'm...
Hey, that's better.
Emma?
That's better.
Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh my goodness.
Now, ready? One. Something. Oh no. The unicorn. It's broken.
Yes.
It's lost its.
It doesn't matter, maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
You'll probably never forgive me. I heard that was a fair piece of glass.
Oh, I didn't have favorites much. It's no matter. We'll just say he had an operation. he has a horn removed to make him freakish. And now he'll feel more at home with the other horses. Ones that don't have horns.
That's very funny. Glad to see you have a sense of humor about it. Laura, you know, you're both very different. Surprisingly different from anyone else I know. Do you mind me telling you that? I mean it in a nice way. You make me feel sort of... I'm usually pretty good at expressing myself, but this is just something I don't know how to say. Has anyone ever told you you're pretty? Well, you are, in a very different way than anyone else. And all the nicer because of that difference. I wish you were my sister. I teach you to have confidence in yourself. Being different is nothing to be ashamed of. There's other people are not such wonderful people. They're 100 times 1,000. You're 1 times 1. They walk all over the earth. You just stay. They're as common as weeds. You are. Well, you're blue roses.
Blue is wrong for roses.
It's right for you. You're pretty.
In what respect am I pretty?
In all respects, believe me. Your eyes, your hair are pretty. Hands are pretty. I mean, you think I'm saying this because I'm invited over here. That's too nice. Oh, I could do that, Laura. I could put on an act for you and say lots of things without being very sincere. This time I am. Talk to me sincerely. I happen to notice you have this inferiority complex that keeps you from feeling comfortable with people. Something ought to build your confidence up, Laura. Make you proud instead of shy and turning away. Somebody ought to kiss you. Shouldn't have done that. That was way off the beam. So, what do you care for a minute, baby? Peppermint, lifesaver. My pocket's a regular drugstore wherever I go. Laura, you know, if I had a sister like you, I'd do the same thing as Tom. I'd bring out nice fellows and introduce her to them. The right type of boys. The type to appreciate it. Only, well, I made a mistake about me. Maybe I've gotten a call to be saying this that may not have been the idea of having me over, but what if it was? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. The only trouble is, I'm not in a situation to do the right thing. next week and ask for a date. Thought I'd better explain this in case you misunderstood. I hurt your feelings. Sorry, I've got strings on me, Laura. I go out all the time with this nice girl named Betty. She's a home girl like you, and Catholic, and Irish, and in a great many ways we get along fine. I met her last summer on a moonlight boat trip up the river to Alton, Majestic. Well, right away from the start it was love. Being in love has made a new man of me, Laura. The power of love is really pretty tremendous. Love is something that changes the whole world. Anyway, Betty's aunt was sick. She got a wire and had to go to Centralia, so in Tom, when he asked me to dinner, I naturally just accepted the invitation, not knowing that you would, but I wish you'd said something. What are you doing that for, Laura? Want me to have it? What for?
Souvenir.
Well. Isn't the air delightful after the shower? I'll fix you children a little liquid refreshment. Jim, do you know that song about lemonade? Lemonade, lemonade, made in the shade and stirred with a spade. Good enough for your maid.
Don't believe I heard that.
Why, Laura, you look so serious.
We were having serious conversation.
Oh, good. Now you're better acquainted.
Yeah.
You young folk are so much more serious-minded than people of my day. I was so gay as a girl.
You're ashamed.
Oh, well, the gaiety of vacation, Mr. O'Connor. Oh, it's just so wonderful. There now. I've discovered some maraschino cherries in the kitchen. I tossed them in, juice and all.
You shouldn't have gone through the trouble, Miss Winston.
Trouble? Trouble? Why, it was loads of fun. Didn't you hear me cutting up in the kitchen? I bet your ears were burning. I was telling Tom how outdone with him I was for keeping you to himself such a long time. Well, now that you found your way, I want you to be a very frequent caller. Not just occasional, but all the time. Oh, we're going to have a lot of gay times together. I can see them coming now. The air is so fresh and the moon so pretty. Well, I'll skip back out now. I know where my place is when young folks are having a serious conversation.
Don't go out, Mrs. Winfield. The fact of the matter is that I've got to be going.
Going? So soon? Why, well, it's just the shake of the evening, Mr. O'Connor.
Well, you know how it is.
You mean you're a young working man that has
what they mean by Southern hospitality.
It really wasn't anything at all.
I hope it don't seem like I'm rushing off. I promised Betty I'd pick her up at the Wabash Depot. By the time I get my old jalopy down there, the train will be in. You know how some women are, they get upset if you keep them waiting.
Yes, the tyranny of women. Goodbye, Mr. O'Connor. I wish you luck and happiness and success. All freedom. And so does Laura. Don't you, Laura? Don't you?
Yes.
Certainly going to treasure that souvenir you get. Don't forget that good advice I gave you. So long, Shakespeare. Thanks again, ladies. Good night.
Things have a way of turning out so bad. I don't believe I would play that Victrola. Well. A gentleman caller was engaged to be married. Tom,
Yes, Mother?
come in here a minute. I want to tell you something awfully funny.
Has the gentleman caller gotten away already?
Our gentleman caller has made an early departure. What a wonderful joke you played.
Well, how do you mean?
You didn't tell us that Jim was engaged to be married.
Jim? Engaged?
That's what he just informed us.
Well, I'll be jiggered. I didn't know about that.
That seems very peculiar.
What's peculiar about it?
Didn't you call him your best friend down at the warehouse?
He is, but how did I know?
Seems awfully peculiar that you wouldn't know your best friend was engaged to be married.
The warehouse is where I work, not where I know things
Oh,
about
you
people.
don't know things anywhere. You live in a dream. You manufacture illusions. Where are you going?
I'm going to the movies.
That's right. Now that you've had us make such fools of ourselves, the preparations, the effort, all the expense, the new floor lamp, the rug, the clothes for Laura, all for what? To entertain some other girl's fiancé? Go now. Go to the movies.
All right, I will.
Don't think about us. A mother deserted. An unmarried sister who's crippled and has no job. Don't you let anything interfere with your selfish pleasure. Just go. Go, 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 go. Go to the movies.
All right. The more you shout about my selfishness to me, the quicker I'll go. And I won't go to the movies.
Go then. Go to the moon, you selfish dreamer.
I didn't go to the moon. I went much further. For time is the longest distance between two places. Not long after that, I was fired for writing a poem on the lid of a shoebox. I left St. Louis. I descended the steps of this fire escape for a last time. I followed from then on my father's footsteps, attempting to find in motion what was lost in space. I traveled around a great deal. The city swept about me like dead leaves. Leaves that were brightly colored, but torn away from the branches. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something. It always came upon me unawares, taking me altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a familiar bit of music. Perhaps it was only a piece of colored glass. Perhaps I'm walking along the street at night in some strange city before I found companions. I passed the lighted window of a shop where perfume is sold. The window is filled with pieces of colored glass. Tiny transparent bottles in delicate colors. Like bits of a shattered rainbow. I reach for a cigarette. I cross the street. I run to the movies or a bar. I buy a drink. Talk to the nearest stranger. Anything that can blow your candles out. For nowadays, the world is lit by lightning. Blow out your candle, Laura. And so goodbye.